Gaming tier lists are boring now, so I made a wheel with 100 completely random games. But here's the big twist. The category is random as well, going from scariest, hardest to most realistic. So you and me will never know what's gonna happen next. And to make things even more crazy, I've built the Mayhem Meter, my own way to measure how much I personally love this exact game. Oh yeah, and you can be a part of the wheel too. Just drop your favorite game in the comments below, and I'll add it to my next spin. Now let's see how chaotic this is gonna get. So here's the wheel with over 100 random games, so we're just gonna spin it right away, and let's see what we're gonna get. Played Up is the first one, or Bloodborne. Played Up. Okay, now that is an interesting one. Now we're gonna spin the category. So how are we gonna rank the next couple of games? Most underrated. What a solid tier. Okay. Now when we talk about Played Up, I think Played Up is overall a very, very underrated game. If you haven't played it before, it's a cooking game that you can play with friends. And honestly, one of the funnest games you can play. It can be very stressful, like you're a chef in real life, and oh my god, you can nearly lose friendships over this game. So honestly, I think Played Up is a very underrated game. So I'm going to put it right up there into very underrated. Now let's find the next 4 games. What's going to make it into the underrated tier list? Medieval Dynasty. Okay, this game isn't very well known, and honestly it's a very chill and relaxing game, but it might not be for everyone. It is a survival game, so it is my personal favorite genre, but it's very chill and obviously set in medieval times, so if you're not really into that, I wouldn't really recommend it. Now when we talk about underrated, it is definitely underrated. Not many people even know about this game's existence, so I'll put it into the underrated tier. What's going to be the third game now for this tier list? Oh, Miles Morales Spider-Man. I'm sure you're very aware of Spider-Man Miles Morales, and no joke, this game is absolutely amazing and I would recommend playing it. But when we're talking about underrated, this game is the definition of a AAA game. Everyone and their mom knows about Spider-Man Miles Morales. Let's find the 4th game on this tier list for most underrated. There's a lot of underrated games in here. Control or Alan Wake? Alan Wake 2. I think most people know about this game. If you don't know about it, it's like a story game. The reviews of this game are like nearly 10 out of 10. This game recently came out in 2023, and I think it's fair to say it's not going to the very, very bottom of the list. It's not as well known as Spider-Man Miles Morales, so I'll put it into the well-known tier because I think that perfectly sums it up. Come on, give us a good underrated game that we can put up to near the top of the tier list. Valheim is actually not talked about enough in my opinion. It is a survival game and it is very, very solid. This game has like unique bosses and different things like that for a survival game, which is very, very unique. You can call it almost like a Souls-like. But when we talk about being underrated, it definitely deserves to go up there. Especially when you talk about survival games, I would say it would go nearly to the top of the tier. But overall, I'd say it is a very, very underrated game. I'm liking this category so far, so let's go for another spin. It looks like, is that Elden Ring? Elden Ring or Dark Souls 3? It's Elden Ring. I'm sure everyone knows about Elden Ring, especially if you've watched my channel before. I've made lots of content about Elden Ring and Elden Ring Night Rain. But in terms of being underrated, it is from Software and it is definitely a AAA game. But Elden Ring is an absolutely amazing game, so it hurts my soul putting it down at the very bottom of this tier list. But this isn't it. I'm going to rank each game on my Mayhem Meter. The way this works is I'm going to rank these games about how much I personally love these games. 0% is I absolutely hate them. 100% is I absolutely love and adore these games. Played Up is such a fun game and I play it with my girlfriend a lot. It's very, very fun, but there can be a lot of arguments because of this game. But when we talk about the Mayhem Meter, I'm going to put it at 85%. I think that fairly determines this game. Next up, Valheim. I've played Valheim a good bit because it's one of the survival games that I've really, really enjoyed. I'll put Valheim overall probably around 70%. Medieval Dynasty, it's a great game, don't get me wrong, it's very calm, but it's not really up my street. I find it kind of boring after a little bit. So I'll put it around the middle. 50% I think is a fair estimate. Alan Wake 2, an absolutely amazing story game. It's definitely going to go 90%. It deserves that. I think we've actually saved the best 2 for last. We have Spider-Man Miles Morales and Elden Ring. Spider-Man Miles Morales is without a doubt at 99%, nearly 100, because the only bad thing about this game is it's kind of short, but the game itself is absolutely amazing and I'd be surprised if you haven't played it before, especially if you have a PlayStation. Elden Ring, the last one, it's possibly one of my favorite games of all time and is a definite life-changing game. So it's only fair putting it at the very, very top, 100%. But why stop now? Let's find another category to rank these games because I want this as chaotic as possible. Overrated? No way. We've gone from underrated to overrated. That is so funny. This is going to be the underrated and overrated episode. This is going to get very controversial, I can guarantee you that. But let's find the first game for the overrated tier. Oh Oh my god. Star Wars Battlefront 2. It has reached the highest player count in the game's history. And I just recently bought this game again on my PlayStation because I used to play it on my Xbox when I was a little kid 8 years ago. But now 8 years later, is this game better or worse? It's fair to say that Battlefront 2 is definitely not overrated, okay? This game is really, really good. It had a very controversial release and lots of different problems, especially microtransactions. But right now, Battlefront 2 is fairly rated. It's an amazing game. It definitely does not deserve to be overrated. We might get some controversial games here. Is that Elden Ring again? So do I think Elden Ring is overrated? In my opinion, absolutely not, man. This game deserves all the credit. It's gonna make its way in front of Battlefront in the fairly rated tier. Oh my god, is that Rust or dayz? dayz. We are just getting all of my favorite games right now out of this 100 random games. That is absolutely ridiculous. dayz is one of my favorite games ever made. This one's pretty easy for me to say as well. It is definitely fairly rated, but when we look at the Mayhem Meter later on, I think this might be a bit hard to find out which one is actually my favorite out of these amazing games. This list is just ridiculous so far, so let's give it another spin. Will we get a game that is actually overrated? Oh my god, are we serious right now? Undertale, of all the games that are here. Now Undertale, if you don't know anything about it, is a very, very good indie game. I played throughout this whole game and it's actually very challenging as well. I'm gonna annoy a lot of people here. It definitely is not fairly rated in my opinion. I think Undertale is slightly, like literally this much overrated, okay? Because some people be calling this game the best game ever made. I think that's a little tiny bit of a stretch. Everyone has their preferences. Tiny bit overrated. Far Cry 5. Okay, Far Cry 5. Interesting. This is unfortunate that this is the overrated tier list because honestly, this game, in my opinion, is underrated. Don't get me wrong, it's nowhere near as good as Far Cry 3. That is definitely the best Far Cry, in my opinion, by far. But Far Cry 5 has actually got a lot of hate. I played this years ago and I actually loved it. I'll never forget about Cheeseburger the Bear. I'm gonna put it into the bottom of the fairly rated tier. And you know, this tier list is just way too low down. Let's do one more game for this tier. Okay, let's see. Resident Evil Village. Okay, Resident Evil Village, yet again another story game, but this one's definitely unique. This is a scary game. The atmosphere in this game is really, really good. The best thing about horror games is if you can build up a good atmosphere for a good jump scare, and I definitely jumped a good few times. There's not really much complaints I can say about this game. The reviews are like 4.8 stars all around, and I would say I would agree with that for the most part. So it's gonna go into the bottom again. So let's talk about the Mayhem Meter, okay? At the very start we have Undertale. I put this into the slightly tiniest bit overrated, but that doesn't mean this game is anywhere near bad. In fact, it's one of my favorite games ever. It's just a tiny bit overrated. But overall for the Mayhem Meter, this game definitely deserves to go up there. It's getting around 88% in the Mayhem Meter because I personally love this game. Next, Elden Ring. I'm not gonna even say anything. One of my favorite games, if not my favorite game ever. 100%, we've already talked about it. dayz, another absolutely amazing game, and I personally love it. I don't think dayz is as good as Elden Ring in my opinion, but I love this game, and it's all about how much I personally love the game. It's gonna get 99%. You're nearly there. Next up, Star Wars Battlefront 2, another absolutely amazing game that I personally really enjoy. 95%. Far Cry 5, an amazing story game that I think people are hating on way too harshly. 88%. Village, Resident Evil, a great horror game with a great atmosphere. Not as good as these other games in my opinion, so I'd give it maybe an 85%. Thank you for watching the whole video. Let me know down below if you love this concept. And if you want to be a part of the next episode, all you have to do is just comment down below what your favorite game is or a game you'd like to see on this tier list. You might get lucky and the wheel might pick you for the next video. We still have a lot of categories to look at, and if you have any other categories that you think would be very funny and very good for the next video, let me know down below as well. Thank you for watching the whole video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day and peace.